Oh, peace and blessings, everybody, and good morning to you. All right. So this morning, this is what I had on my mind when I got up, and it's about this whole emotional piece. I made a comment on a post. It wasn't my post? It was someone else's post, and I think I've mentioned this before. But the video was about this female that was in a Domino's pizza place, and the people were serving her wrong. It was like it was like the two people that were working there was like the white woman and this white guy, right? And so, anyway, the sister got into it with them because of how the sister was. I mean, how the white lady was preserving, making her food. And so, anyway, she had a fit, and rightfully so, because the woman was making her food in a sink. She was preparing her food inside of a sink. And so the sister had, she made had a fit about it and asked for her money back, which she rightfully supposed to do. She recorded it on video. She asked for her money back. She had, but she went beyond. She went beyond with her verbal frustrations. Now, my statement was and the reason why I made my statement first is because I had became concerned with her because from my perspective of the police in the state that we're in right now, excuse me, had the police arrived and seen, like, this was the only black person in the store. So had the police arrived, because the woman behind the counter was saying she was finna call the police because the woman had got into it with a customer in there, right? And so, anyway, in my concern, I'm starting to worry in the video because and just from the way we know how these police be, if they had arrived, the sister was going off the way she was at, and she was already at 100, and it would have been hard for her to lower that 100 to even talk to the police without all that energy. And I'm gonna tell you, when it comes to people and their perception of black women, their perception of black men, there's a certain approach we gotta approach with. If we approach with that already perception, then we're gonna almost get what they develop, as a response, because everybody kind of has a defensive character that they create and develop in regards to how to deal with other characters, right? They really don't know how to deal with us. They don't know how to deal with us. We don't always know how to deal with us. But they or no one else really don't know how to deal with us. And again, I have to emphasize, how can we expect others to really know how to deal with us in the right way when we don't necessarily know how to deal with us all the time in the right way? And this is, for me, this is what this says. There's a lot of work that we have to do. I mean, on self, man. We got to stop expecting others to treat us in a way that we ourselves don't treat us, first off. And then as an individual, don't really put ourselves in a position to be treated like. How can I want respect when I'm dealing with others in a way that can be deemed as disrespectful? If I'm approaching violating your space, if I'm approaching violating your physical by touching you or whatever, if I'm approaching even in aggressive way sometimes, because mind you, talking because people have even told me about my tone, about, how I emphasize stuff. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't until I heard myself on an audio without seeing myself that I can hear what people hear when they're talking to me on the phone or in person who don't know me. You see, I know me. So when I'm talking, I'm like, why would I emphasize a point? I have to be upset or I have to be frustrated. I'm just passionate about what I'm talking about. But why is it that I have to be upset? But here's the deal. That's because I'm functioning and looking at what I'm doing and saying from the inside out. But once I was able to listen to me from the outside of me on audio, because I was editing some audio and I was listening to the audio, trying to decide if I'm going to use this audio for, posting. And so I'm listening to the conversation, and I'm talking about for the first time ever that I hear. It do sound like I was upset. So from that point, for myself, study and observation and correction, what I'm going to do is make sure that when I'm talking to people, that I'm mindful of that. I'm mindful of my energy. I'm mindful of my approach, because even though I may be approaching, right, and I don't have a frown on my face, I'm telling you, man, not everybody's perception of you in your actions, the things you do, the way you do it, all that is going to be equivalent with yours. So, like, example, like if I say I approach, like if I say, well, just because, but let me say this. If I say this here, when I'm using my hand while I'm talking, ooh, some people might say, man, stop moving your hands on, put your hand down, because you make me nervous when you do that. I mean, I've had officers tell me that, stop, put your hands down when you talk, because you make me nervous. I don't know what you finna do with your hands. For a person who don't talk with their hands, it's logical. Do you understand? It's logical, because they functioning too from their inside, and they only can function as much as possible from, like, to say, the outside in. I can only try to understand you so much, right? But again, just it's like, as a mutual respect, if a person say, well, just can you please don't use your hand while you talk to me, or can you please lower your voice when you talk to me, or can you please not curse me when you talk to me, or can you please not call me such and such when you talk to me, or whatever it may be. When a person asks these things of you, I don't think that's a selfish thing. Of course, I'm kind of just going a little further with it. I don't think that's a selfish thing, because, again, this is communication. I'm trying to feel you, right? So our approach is very significant. It's very important. So now, that's what I'm saying about when I say we have to control our emotions, because a lot of times, let's just say with black police, like it almost, I'm saying, like, when I say almost, I'm saying like 80 to almost 90% of the time, when black men have been killed unjustly. I emphasize unjustly now. I don't want you getting your feelings and say, oh, you tripping. Ooh. I'm saying, when black men have been killed unjustly, meaning that the man didn't have a gun, and they was been killed, they didn't have a gun. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying 80 to 90% of the time, when the man has been killed, when the black man has been killed by white police officers unjustly, meaning that the black man did not have a gun, and the police saying, I thought he had a gun, right? When he's been killed unjustly, from my study and my observation, the black man still had a certain level of emotional aggression. I hope that was quoted right. I'm saying, because this is the way I see it in my mental. So I'm saying emotional aggression. So in almost every situation, the black man had a certain level of aggression. You know what I'm saying? And that don't justify the killing, but here's my point. When we dealing with the enemy, whoever the enemy is, the enemy can be a black person. When you're dealing with an enemy, you have to understand what the trap look like. So if I know that if you're trying to get me emotional, if you're trying to get me aggressive, so that you can use my aggression as a justification to kill me, then I'm not going to bite into it. I'm not going to allow you to do me like that. So when I approach, I'm not going to give you no reason whatsoever to exercise any of the hate that you have to me. I'm not going to give you no justification. Here's what I'm going to do. When you talking to me, I'm not going to answer no more than what you ask, if I want to answer that, right? I'm saying, and this is not just necessarily talking about police, but I'm saying, like, dealing with anybody, I choose how I want to engage. So we can't. I think one of the mistakes we make, we want to make a point. We want to make a point, and that don't be the time to make the point, especially in that way. Sometimes the point has to be made later. Sometimes the strategy of war has to be to where I'm going to deal with this individual later. I'm not going to deal with him right now. I'm not going to try to stretch my point out right now. And so, when I understand what the traps look like, when I understand what you're using against me, what you're using as a justification, then I then have to take the intelligent position of making sure I don't give you that justification. So here's one of the final piece to that. It is that when, as a black man, most of us, because I knew how I grew up. I knew what was considered popular or not. Police wasn't popular growing up. In most black neighborhoods, hoods. I don't know about urban, what you call the suburban areas or whatever, but I'm saying in the urban areas, police aren't really popular. Especially white police. So now, when I grew up, black men have a natural, innate prejudice, biasness, opposition, defensive nature, whatever, towards white police officers, period. Or black police officers who seems to have a white mentality. You dig what I'm saying? So now, my thing is this here. When I understand that, when I look at these videos and I see what happened, I also understand that his aggression, his loss of control of his emotions, are also the result of this upbringing, of his position in regards to police officers. I've heard many black men say, man, look, I hate police. I don't like police at all. But you see, we can't take that position with police in general. Because in taking that position, we will unjustly deal with police who doesn't deserve that perspective, that attitude. You know what I'm saying? And even for those who do deserve that attitude, you have to understand that when you are trying to win a war with your mouth, when you are trying to win a war with your physical and all you finna do is wrestle, you are at a disadvantage when they have the tools of guns, stunners, and all other kind of external weapons to also use against you in war. So don't engage no police in no war if that's what you're thinking. From that perspective either. So if you want to really be intelligent and smart about it, strategic, because life is a thinking game. Life is a thinking game, I emphasize. Life is a thinking game, not an emotional affiliate game. It's not a belief of game. It is a game of thinking and strategy. So if you feel that you have been dealt with unjustly, black man, if you feel you have been dealt with unjustly, then get the information you need right then, collect all the information and data you need right then, and you go to war after that. Because you're going to lose the war right then, and the point that you was trying to make will not be made. Yeah, somebody may get a lawsuit. Yeah, somebody may get some kind of settlement, but guess what? You're not there for your family. You're not there for your kids. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make a point. Am I to say be passive? Am I to say be peaceful, all this? No, I'm not saying that. Not in the eye of injustice. I'm saying this here. That war is a strategic. It requires strategy. War requires strategy. And if you see an approach that isn't working on average, you see if approach isn't working on average, then it's time for you to reassess the situation and come from a different angle. Why would you keep getting yourself killed? Black man. Black woman, because it's not just for black men. Black women, you have to control your mouth. Not everything requires you to speak on every time. Not everything requires your immediate rebuttal. You don't have to say something every time, whether it be against authority figures or whether it be against another male, period, or whether it be against another female. But I'm saying, especially when you're talking to men, you have to control your tongue. Because the only weapon you have on your side is either if you have a gun or if you're going to call the police. But you may not make it to neither. You have to also think. Because again, life is a thinking game. If you want to get back to your kids, if you plan to get back to work, if you plan to get to the next day, if you plan to get there in peace, you have to think. Again, even if it was against another female. War never guarantees you as a victor. Not physically. You may win in spirit. You may win in the concept of it. Your name may live on. But again, you have to know what your objective is. What are you trying to really get out of the situation? Is it just to make a point? Whether you live or not. If it's just to make a point, then whatever you do is on you. But I'm saying, when we get the mourning about us dying in these streets and all that, the answer is first, we have to correct self. We have to do some work on self. We have to become who we know we need to be and who we want others to be. We have to start working on self, man, first. Until you're willing to do that, then you stop complaining, because everything that you dealing with and come with you is a part of who you are. It's a part of your response. It's a part of the way you think. So stop complaining and accept it. If you are not going to change you, because the world is not going to change around you while you don't do nothing to change yourself. So stop all the complaining. Change self, control and master self. Control and master your emotions, control and master your thoughts. Now, in closing, I want to add this, because I know some people are, well, you must ain't never been to shit. That's what one person tell me. You must ain't never been to shit. You know, I don't engage. I don't have to engage when you know the truth. You know, I know you don't know me. I know your statement is designed to spark me or to incite a war with you. I simply say you don't even know nothing about me. So that wasn't even an intelligent statement. Simple as that. Okay, now I've had y'all long enough. This is what I'm finna say in closing. I've been in the streets on the criminal side of life probably longer than I've been on this legal side of life. So I've been since the age of 13, I've been dealing with police all the way up to my late 30s, which was when I was released from incarceration. Now you said, damn, how old your ass here? But anyway, I have been dealing with officers for a very long time. But in the streets, out of all the time I've been in jail, locked up, pulled over, do you know I didn't get a license, a driving license, until I was in my, I think, late 30s? I didn't get a driving license until then. So I'm saying I've been dealing with officers for a long time. I've been in and out of jail. I've been in and out of city jail. For the average person, you can't tell me I don't know. You can't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't care if you're in the streets or out the street. You cannot tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to dealing with officers. I am a professor when it comes to dealing with officers. I have never been shot. I have never been beat up. Well, let me tell you, I have never been beat up in the streets by officers. When I was in county one time, I was in our county, Harris County, gonna kick your ass if you get too freestyling with your mouth. And I was fired up little youngster back then, so I was quick to spark off at the mouth. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have control of my emotions because I was raised by a single mother and she was out of control. So I only got by out of controlness from her out of control. So it was a situation where anyway, and this really only happened one time. And it was a white officer. He really didn't beat me up. He just tried to rough me up a little bit. But I've always kind of had like a little size, so I don't know. Whatever it was, maybe I've always had protective angels around me. Maybe I've always had, I don't know. Whatever the case may be, that didn't happen. He roughed me up, but he didn't beat me up. You know what I'm saying? I know guys who got beat up, hurt, bruised. So he kind of roughed me up a little bit, slammed me against the wall or whatever. But I take that back. It happened that time and another time in the world, in the society, in the apartment that I used to live in, where officer, I had said something fly to him, and he pushed me into the wall. He like shoved me to the wall by my neck, like this here with his forearm. And when he slammed me to the wall, it put like a hole in the wall. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't even hurt. It probably just looked like it did, but it didn't even hurt nothing. Anyway, and I didn't even go to jail then. I was released. You know. Anyway, my whole point is that, for the most part, I've never been beat up, really. I have never really been beat up, and I've never been shot. So, not by officers. So, well, I haven't been shot, period. I've been shot at, but I've never been shot. But I've never been shot, so, by officer anyway. So, the things is here. I know what I'm saying. And everything I'm telling you, I pull from all my experiences. I pull from me then, I pull from me from now. So I'm not just talking. Life is a thinking game. We gotta think, black man. We gotta think, black woman. Can't be emotional. Yeah, we got emotions. I'm not saying we're not supposed to have emotions. I'm saying you can't be emotional. You can't be when you out of control. Your emotions is running the show. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, with all that being said, I've kind of stretched this talk out. It's about 20 minutes now. Anyway, peace and blessings, man. I appreciate y'all. If you sat here and listened to the whole conversation, I really appreciate you. I mean, you are about being better and doing better. So as well as receiving information. Anyway, peace and blessings, and I appreciate you. I be forgetting to even tell y'all this, but always subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. Anyway, peace and blessings. Appreciate you.